Good evening, folks. This is Deb. So we're going to talk about the seismic event that happened in New York City's mayoral race this week. But before we get into that, I want to remind everybody that I've spoken in the past about this. Our goal between now and 2026 is to build up the Democratic Party so that we get rid of as many Republicans in office as we can. They are the clear and present danger in America. We cannot leave them in office in numbers where they control anything, okay? If we can win back the House in a big way and make up ground in the Senate, because there are 33 Senate seats up, then we can make Trump effectively a 2-year president, okay? Even Mike Johnson fears that. We must make that happen. But you will also remember, I said that the other part of the equation here is to push the Democrats further to the left so that they serve the American people. So let's talk about the New York mayor's race and why this is kind of like a microcosm of that. Here are the people who are involved in this, okay? We have Eric Adams, who is the current independent running because he used to be a Democrat, but then he was brought up on federal corruption charges, okay? And when Donald Trump took office, his DOJ in April of this year dropped those charges against Eric Adams in exchange for him helping them round up immigrants. So Eric Adams is a corrupt Democratic politician and someone we do not want reelected under any circumstance. But running in the Democratic primary to go against Eric Adams and a guy named Curtis Sliwa, who is a Republican who you will remember from the old Guardian Angels days, who is a rabid Trumper. He is also in the mix. But running to compete on the Democratic side was a guy named Zohran Mamdani, who nobody virtually knew very long ago, and old friend Andrew Cuomo, who has cost New York taxpayers $60 million, paying off legal fees related to his time in office in the past, okay? And nearly $46 million of that $60 million was used to settle sexual harassment cases. My friends, guys like Eric Adams, guys like Andrew Cuomo, they are Democrats who helped get us to where we are right now. We have an opportunity now to push this party in the right direction, because we also had a guy named Brad Lander running in this primary. You'll remember he was just recently arrested in a courthouse he was arrested by ICE trying to protect an immigrant from being arrested. He has literally volunteered to do this, okay? He has done it successfully 5 times before this time when he himself got arrested because somehow they got separated. Brad Lander is also currently the New York City Comptroller. He has been in that position since 2022. So what did he do? He and Zohran Mamdani basically endorsed each other so that they could move this city in the kind of visionary direction where I believe this country should be moving. And what was the end result of that? Zohran Mamdani, sorry about that, won the primary. Okay? He won a multicultural victory. He won in Manhattan. He won in Corona. He won in Jackson Heights. He won on the South Shore of Staten Island. He did what nobody believed he would ever be able to do. Now, we have a bunch of centrist Democrats who are targeting this guy. And you know what? We need to do everything in our power to see that we promote Mamdani all across social media. I don't care whether you live in New York or not. Okay, because everything we do from here on out will reflect the kind of nation that we have, no matter where these victories come from. All right, now let's talk about who supported Andrew Cuomo. Guys like Michael Bloomberg, Barry Diller, William Lander, who is the big cosmetics magnate, and Reed Hastings, the owner of Netflix. These guys will now take their money after losing, a lot of money on Cuomo and give it to who? Who do you think they will give it to? Eric Adams. This is the kind of Democratic Party we want to get rid of, frankly. Let's be honest here. In the meantime, Zohran Mamdani was endorsed by both Bernie Sanders and AOC. He identifies as a democratic socialist. So before everybody gets their underwear in a twist, let's define what a democratic socialist is, because Bernie Sanders and AOC are both democratic socialists. And Bernie Sanders is 83 years old and has been serving this country and serving the American people for years, okay? Social Democrats believe in a mixed economy that combines capitalist markets with social welfare programs to balance individual liberty with social justice and equality. They advocate for a robust welfare state, universal access to public services, and economic policies that reduce inequality and poverty. Social Democrats also emphasize democratic control of the economy and society, and often have strong ties to the labor movement. What democratic socialists aren't are authoritarian socialists. They do not believe or endorse any of that. But I will tell you this right now. Not only will the right-wing Republicans try to make that what Zohran Mamdani is all about, so will the centrist Democrats. And we must push back on that as heartily as we can. So just exactly what is Mamdani advocating for in New York City? Free city buses, universal childcare, city-owned grocery stores. And he intends to do all this by doing what? Taxing the wealthy. This is where all of these big money guys come in. They don't want any of that. He also believes in affordable housing, and none of the, real estate magnates believe in any of that either, because then they can't line their pockets sufficiently. All right? Let me just give you a little tip about my state, Massachusetts. In 2022, the voters voted to tax the wealthy at a different tax level than everybody else. They voted to tax them more. And in the state of Massachusetts, we have now free community college education for everybody 25 and older. So understand that when they tell you this is pie in the sky stuff, it isn't. It can be done. The only thing that's pie in the sky to them is getting taxed more. That's what they don't want. We have to literally get to know all about Zohran Mamdani, because there are other democratic socialists out there. And we need to start pushing this country in the direction of serving the majority. That's the American people. The majority are not the wealthy. They never have been. So I will be making other videos about this and about this guy. We're going to make another one in the next couple of days as it relates to the LGBTQ community and how he wants to serve them. So gang, I urge you to check out the YouTube version of this video, because it will have a bunch of information on him, and you need to understand why we want to push in this direction. I will talk to you all later.